Chapter 16. The Four Quarters in Heaven. Both in heaven and in the world there are four quarters: east, south, west and north, determined in each world by its own sun. In heaven, by the Son of heaven, which is the Lord. In the world, by the Son of the world. Yet there are great differences between them. First, that in the world the south is said to be where the sun is in its greatest altitude above the earth, the north where it is in its opposite position beneath the earth, the east where it rises at the equinox, and the west where it then sets. Thus, in the world it is from the south that all the quarters are determined. In heaven, however, the quarter where the Lord appears as a sun is said to be the east. Opposite to this is the west. On the right in heaven is the south, and on the left there the north. And this in every turning of face and body. Thus in the heaven it is from the east that all the quarters are determined. It is said to be the east where the Lord is seen as a sun, because all origin of life is from him as a sun. Moreover, so far as angels receive heat and light, or love and intelligence from him, the Lord is said to arise upon them. For the same reason, in the Word, the Lord is said to be the east. The second difference is that to the angels the east is always facing them, the west behind, the south to the right and the north to the left. But since this can scarcely be comprehended in the world, because man turns his face to every quarter, it will therefore be explained. The entire heaven turns to the Lord as to its common centre. Thus all the angels turn to him. It is known that also on the earth there is a directing of all things towards a common centre, but there is this difference between the directing of the world and in heaven, that in heaven the front parts are turned to their common centre, but in the world the lower parts. In the world this directing is called centripetal force and also gravitation. The interiors of the angels are indeed actually turned forwards, and since the interiors manifest themselves in the face, therefore it is the face that determines the quarters. It is still more difficult to comprehend in the world that in every turning of their face and body the angels have the east facing them, since man, according as he turns, has every quarter facing him. This then will be explained. Angels, like men, turn and move their faces and bodies in every direction, and yet they have the east always in front of their eyes. But the turnings of angels are unlike the turnings of men, because they are from another origin. They appear the same, but yet they are not. The origin of those turnings is the ruling love, from which all directions with angels and spirits are determined. For, as just said, their interiors are actually turned towards their common centre, thus in heaven to the Lord as a sun. Consequently, because love is continually present before their interiors, and the face comes into existence from the interiors, for it is their external form, therefore the love that is ruling is always before their face. So in the heavens this is the Lord as a sun, because it is from him that they have their love. Also, because the Lord himself is with the angels in his love, It is the Lord who causes them to look to him whithersoever they turn. These matters cannot be further elucidated at this stage, but they will be presented more clearly to the understanding in subsequent sections, especially in those dealing with representations and appearances, and with time and space in heaven. That the angels have the Lord constantly facing them, it has been granted me to know and perceive from much experience. For whenever I have been in the company with angels, the Lord's presence was noticed before my face, not actually seen, and yet perceptible in a light. And angels have quite often testified that this is so. As the Lord is constantly before the faces of the angels, therefore it is even said in the world that those who believe in the Lord and love him have God before their eyes and face, and that they look to him and see him. Man speaks in this way from the spiritual world, for although he is ignorant of their source, it is from there that many expressions are in human speech. This turning to the Lord is among the wonders of heaven. For many can be together in one place there, some turning the face and body one way and some another, and yet all see the Lord before them. And each one has the south at his right, the north at his left, and the west behind him. Another of the wonders is that although the angels' whole aspect is towards the east, they also have a view towards the other three quarters. But their view towards these is from their interior sight, which pertains to their thought. Also among the wonders is that in heaven no one is ever permitted to stand behind another and look at the back of his head, for then the influx of good and truth from the Lord would be disturbed. The angels see the Lord one way, and the Lord sees the angels another way. The angels see the Lord through their eyes, but the Lord looks at the angels in the forehead. The reason for this is that the forehead corresponds to love, and it is through love that the Lord flows into their will, while it is through the understanding to which the eyes correspond that he causes himself to be seen. The quarters in the heavens, which constitute the Lord's celestial kingdom, differ from the quarters in the heavens which constitute his spiritual kingdom, for the reason that the Lord is seen by the angels in his celestial kingdom as a sun, but by the angels in his spiritual kingdom as a moon, and the east is where the Lord appears. The distance there between the sun and the moon is 30 degrees. Hence there is the same distance between the quarters. That heaven is distinguished into two kingdoms called the celestial kingdom and the spiritual kingdom may be seen in the appropriate section. Also that the Lord appears in the celestial kingdom as a sun and in the spiritual kingdom as a moon. Yet it does not follow that the quarters of heaven become confused on this account, since the spiritual angels cannot ascend to the celestial angels, nor can the celestial descend to the spiritual angels, as may be seen above. This makes clear the nature of the Lord's presence in the heavens, that he is everywhere and with everyone in the good and truth which go forth from him. And thus he is with the angels in what is his own, as has been said above. The perception of the Lord's presence is in their interiors. From these their eyes see, because sight is a continuation of perception. Thus they see the Lord outside themselves. Hence it can be established how it is to be understood that the Lord is in them and they in the Lord, according to his words, "Abide in me, and I in you. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood abideth in me, and I in him." The Lord's flesh signifies divine good, and his blood divine truth. In the heavens all dwell in separate groups in accordance with the quarters. Those who are in the good of love dwell towards the east and the west. Those who are in clear perception of it towards the east, and those in obscure perception of it towards the west. Those who are in wisdom from the good of love dwell towards the north and south. Those who are in the clear light of wisdom towards the south, and those in obscure light of it towards the north. The angels of the Lord's spiritual kingdom and those of his celestial kingdom dwell in the same order, yet differently insofar as their love of good and light of truth from good differ. For in the celestial kingdom, the love is love to the Lord, and the light of truth therefrom is wisdom, while in the spiritual kingdom, the love is love towards the neighbour, which is called charity, and the light of truth therefrom is intelligence, which is also called faith. They differ also as to the quarters, for the quarters in the two kingdoms are apart from each other by 30 degrees, as has been said just above. In like order, the angels in each particular society of heaven dwell in relation to one another. Towards the east there dwell those who are in a greater degree of love and charity. Towards the west, those in a lesser degree. Towards the south dwell those who are in greater light of wisdom and intelligence. Towards the north, those who are in less. They dwell separately like this because each society resembles heaven and is a heaven in lesser form. The same arrangement prevails in their assemblies. They are brought into this order by reason of the form of heaven, from which each one knows his own place. The Lord also provides that there may be in each society those of every kind, to the intent that in form heaven may be everywhere like itself. Yet the arrangement of the whole heaven differs from the arrangement of a society, as what is general differs from what is particular. For the societies towards the east surpass those towards the west, and those towards the south surpass those towards the north. Because of this, the quarters in the heavens signify such things as pertain to those who dwell in them. The east signifying love and its good in clear perception, the west the same in obscure perception. The south, wisdom and intelligence in clear light, and the north, the same in obscure light. And because of this signification of the quarters in heaven, they have a like signification in the internal or spiritual sense of the word. For the internal or spiritual sense of the word is in entire accord with what is in heaven. The reverse is true of those in the hells. Those who are there do not look to the Lord as a sun nor as a moon, but they look backwards away from the Lord to that dense blackness that is in the place of the sun of the world, and to the darkness that is in the place of the earth's moon. Those called genii looking to the dense blackness which is in place of the sun of the world, and those called spirits to the darkness which is in place of the earth's moon. It may be seen above that the world's sun and the earth's moon are not seen in the spiritual world, but in place of the sun a dense blackness over against the sun of heaven, and in place of the moon a darkness over against the moon of heaven. For this reason the quarters of those in the hells are opposite to the quarters of heaven. To them the east is where that dense blackness and darkness are. The west is where the Son of Heaven is. And the south is to their right, and the north to their left. And this also in every turning of their bodies. Nor can they face otherwise, because the whole bent and consequent determination of their interiors tends and strives that way. It may be seen in 143 that the bent and consequent actual determination of the interiors of all in the other life are in accordance with their love. The love of those in the hells is the love of self and the world, and these loves are what are signified by the world's sun and the earth's moon. And these loves are opposite to love to the Lord and love towards the neighbour. This is the cause of their turning backwards away from the Lord to those dense blacknesses. Moreover, those in the hells dwell likewise in accordance with their quarters. Those who are in evils from love of self, dwelling from their east to their west, and those in the falsities of evil from their south to their north. But more will be said of this further on, where the hells are treated of. When any evil spirit comes among good spirits, the quarters are usually so confused that the good scarcely know where their east is. This I have sometimes seen take place, and have also heard about it from spirits who complained of it. Evil spirits sometimes appear turned towards the quarters of heaven, and they then have intelligence and perception of truth, but no affection of good. Wherefore, as soon as they turn back to their own quarters, they have not intelligence or perception of truth, even declaring then that the truth which they heard and perceived are not truths but falsities. They also wish falsities to be truths. In respect of this turning, I have been told that with the evil, the intellectual part of the mind can be so turned, but not the voluntary part, and that this is provided by the Lord to the end that each one may have the ability to see and acknowledge truths, but that no one receives truths unless he is in good, since it is good and never evil that receives truths. Also that man has the same ability to the end that he may be made better by means of truths. Nevertheless, he is made better only so far as he is in good. Consequently, a man can in like manner be turned to the Lord. But if he is in evil, as to his life, he immediately turns back and confirms in himself the falsities of his evil, which are contrary to the truths he has understood and seen. This takes place when he thinks in himself from his interior.